My friend is acting strange. I wish I never found out why. I have been friends with Lacey since we were kids. It was one of those school friendships that was never separated. Now we were roommates in the local college, and it was the best decision I made. Lacey was a part of this college club that she told me in an absolute confidence and told me not to say a word to anyone about it. She is gone for the club activities every night until 3 in the morning. This never bothered me though, as I would spend most of the time sleeping or studying for an upcoming test. One day, Lacey set up a large freezer, one of those kinds you lift a lid to open, and she told me anything in there was strictly hers, and I was not to be in it at all. I was a bit confused at this. She told me like a mother would tell her kid not to eat the dessert before dinner. But I shrugged it off since I didn't want her to get angry. It was until 2 days later that I heard something in the kitchen. It was around 3 in the morning, and it sounded like something being dragged on the floor. Now that I think about it, this should have been a red flag. At this time, though, I acted like I got up to go to the bathroom and coincidentally seen Lacey in the kitchen. The light was on. The middle edge of the freezer lid was covered in something red, as well as Lacey's hands. She caught me, and I knew she did. She stared at me for a moment before speaking. "Sorry if I woke you. I just brought some meat home." I nodded groggily and decided to just go back to bed, acting like I wouldn't remember anything in the morning. She knew me well enough that I did that. The next morning, though, I remembered everything, and luckily she went to her classes earlier than I did. I was curious, so I went to our small dorm kitchen and looked at the freezer in front of me. I opened it casually to see something I wish I could erase. There was a man, or what used to be one. His body was naked and mangled, his limbs cut off of his torso and stored neatly beside him, with a weird symbol carved into his now frozen stomach. I almost threw up, and my mind froze, and the next thing I knew, I was in my room sobbing. I don't know how long I was there, but Lacey was still in class. Now I didn't know what to do. I thought that it would be the best option to call the cops. Then my mind went back to how she would feel if I ruined her life. She was my friend, and it was stupid of me to try to defend her. It's been about a week since I seen the freezer, and the feeling never left. Every time I see Lacey, it make my stomach turn. At least 2 more nights, I heard putting something in it. Until one day, Lacey didn't come back. She left for a club meeting, and it's now been 3 days since I have seen her, and I started panicking more when I seen her phone in her room. I looked in the freezer to see the body is gone, and the only thing in it was bloody remains as well as a few cut organs. I know it was invading her privacy, but I eventually checked her phone. But the one thing I found was a calendar event named The Final Day, and the location had an address that I have never heard of. But with the ominous look of the name, I grabbed my small pistol and got in my car and drove to the location. Out of the public sat a large abandoned warehouse. My phone told me I arrived and took the gun out of the glove compartment before I went inside. It wasn't hard to. The main door was locked, but the window close to the ground was shattered, so I simply climbed in. The building was overall dark, the only light coming through a room that was blocked by a large metal door with a single window, and stood on my toes to see inside. I seen Lacey laying on her back in the middle of a circle of people in cloaks. She was clearly dead, her body sliced in a fashion that showed it meant something. The wounds were planned and cut with the appropriate tools. As I stood in shock, one of the cloaked people looked back. For what felt like hours, we made eye contact, but I had enough time to run before they came out. As I write this, I'm in a supply closet. I don't think they can find me here, but I feel hopeless without Lacey. I wish I could have been there for her more. But if they find me, I will get a second chance to be.